H.O.P.S started a few years ago, back in 2018, and it was founded by Coach Bola. Bola is on the line as well as Taiwo. And this came out of, their recognition of the fact that a gap existed, for immigrants, for professionals in Canada and in North America as at then, that we're trying to transit into a new career or, that are just graduated from school and we're, trying to get a job. And, initially they were doing this, on a one-to-one basis because people would approach them, oh, I see you were able to like get into this field, or I see you like are well experienced in this area, and we would like some mentoring and coaching. And like I said the other time, we know that if you want to go far, if you want to go fast, you travel alone. But if you want to go very far, you collaborate with people, you travel with other people. And that's what they did by setting up helping other people succeed and bringing together a team of, subject matter experts, industry leaders, to help, advance the cause of helping other professionals develop in their chosen fields and in their careers. And there are a few initiatives that we have. The first one I'll talk about is the career hack, which is what we're having right now. And it's just basically bringing thought leaders together from different sectors, to share insights and to, provide some insights into their specific field. And we also have what we call the Accelerate. Accelerate is a 6-week mentoring program where we match prospective mentees with mentors in their chosen field. We make sure that there's a match between the mentees' goals and the mentors' area of expertise. We also have what we call the GoPro. With GoPro, we actually help professionals that are trying to like take certifications. Oh, sorry, I think I'm getting some feedback. Okay, taking care of that. Okay, so we help professionals that are trying to get certifications in either, like maybe PMP, CBAP, CAPM, or Agile certifications. We match them with some of our sponsor organizations like sixdots.io, and they take some of those preparatory trainings at a discounted rate. There's quite a number of initiatives that we have going at helping other people succeed. And I'll put a link to our website where you can read a lot more about that. Just also to shout out, you know, I would call them the executive sponsors, but this series of master classes have been powered by our partner organization, sixdots.io. I know all of us registered for free, but it came at a cost the to the organization and to even the people that we've invited to speak. And we started last week with the product management as well as the Figma. If you missed that, the upload is up on our YouTube page now. And today we're going to go into business analysis masterclass. And it is my distinct honor to introduce to you our speaker for today. In case you haven't met her, you are in for a treat. Sendai is a fantastic speaker. I heard her speak probably for the first time about 3 or 4 years ago, and it left my mind blown. And she's just someone that when you listen to her, it doesn't leave your memory. Tendai has she's got over 15 years experience in business analysis, in product ownership, and the rest. And you are going to experience her for yourself today. At this point, I would like to invite Tendai to the virtual podium. Please put your hands together virtually for her as we make her feel welcome.
Wow, thank you so much. I hope everyone can hear me. That was quite the introduction. Always a pleasure to be with helping other people succeed. Whenever I hear the story of, how it started, I think most of us know, if you guys can just mute yourself, but I think most of us are aware that, in order to get far, you definitely need to surround yourself with people who think like you, right? With mentors, with coaches. So really helping other people succeed. It's my pleasure to be part of this organization, really giving back. I believe in giving back a lot. I'm an advocate for coaching, training, development, grooming like young talent, especially in the field of business analysis. And I'm so glad to see so many people on the call today with us. So welcome everyone. One thing I want to highlight for today is that I won't be doing most of the talking, right? I will definitely be giving you guys some insights, but I've got breakout room activities that I want you guys to really get practical hands-on application, right? This is a masterclass. So this is not an introduction to business analysis. This is not, the basics. I want you guys to get your hands dirty. I want you guys to experience what it is through doing a case study. So I've got a case study that we're going to progressively work through over the next 2 hours, right, in terms of applying key business analysis and concepts. Hopefully you guys will get the hands-on experience. You'll be able to hopefully take it forward, right? For those of you guys who are in BA roles already, maybe sharpening your skills. And then for those of you guys who are starting off, maybe this is a nice platform for you guys to learn everything. Right. So I am sharing my screen. Hopefully you guys can see it. In terms of introductions, like Aditun said, please feel free to put in the chat where you guys are coming from or where you guys are from. I'm going to hear a bit of feedback. Where you guys are from, it will be really great. As Aditun has hinted, I have been a business analyst for the past probably 16 years now. I'm a certified business analysis professional. I'm also a certified Scrum Master as well as a certified Scrum product owner. Currently, I am consulting. I also do a lot of mentoring, training, coaching, also in the education field. So it's really my pleasure to be here with all of you guys here. Please feel free to stop me as we're going through the presentation, right? And then we can go along, right? Let me know. I can see a lot of things in the in the chat, so it's really great to be here. Right. So I'm going to start off maybe with just a high-level session overview in terms of what we're going to go through. I always like to start off these sessions by just giving you guys some interesting statistics, right? What is going on in the field of business analysis, right? It's 2024. We went through the pandemic. What's happening in the industry, right? So let's hear some interesting statistics. We'll go on just to touch high level. What is business analysis? What are the key competencies, right? What are the key knowledge areas, right? All of this content that I'll be presenting for those of you guys who are familiar with the business analysis body of knowledge, right? That's where most of this content is from. So for those of you guys who are keen to do your certification, this is a great kind of like stepping stone for you guys to find out what are those key knowledge areas, right? We're going to talk about the different techniques that are available. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a deep dive into each one of those knowledge areas. I've prepared a case study, like I said, and a few kind of like sample group exercises. I'll put you guys into groups. You'll work through those. We can come back, we'll present. Hopefully there's enough time, right? I think I could speak about business analysis for 6 hours if I can, but hopefully within these 2 hours, we can condense everything. Right, so let's start off with some interesting statistics, right? I always love this slide from the World Economic Forum, right? That speaks to the top 10 skills of 2025, right? Have a look at these skills, guys. And if you can see the ones in blue, right, relate to problem solving, analytical thinking and innovation, right? Complex problem solving, critical thinking and analysis, right? Creativity, originality, initiative, right? Reason, problem solving and ideation, right? What's interesting about this is 6 of those skills, like I've just read out, right? They are actually key competency and skills of a business analyst, right? So really showing you guys how important, right, our skills are in this modern world, right? Again, interesting statistics, 14,000 business analysis jobs posted in Indeed.com, right? And that's expected to grow by 30%, right, in the next few years. Right, the IIBA, the statistic, the second one is from the IIBA. They predicted from 2018 till 2028, right, there's going to be an 85% increase projected, right, in jobs relating to business analysis. I mean, who doesn't want to be part of this, right? So really some key nice statistics there just to give you guys a warm, fuzzy feeling. For those of you guys who are sitting on the fence, please come over to the BA fence, right? Hopefully these stats will start warming you guys over, right? Right. Also, importance of business analysis. Right. Please, can you guys keep yourselves muted? I would appreciate that. Right. So in terms of the importance of business analysis, guys, I cannot even begin to talk about this, right? If we talk about why is business analysis important, right? Look at these project failure rates that we got from PMI, the Pulse of Professional report in 2021, right? 37% of projects fail. Why? Because of inaccurate requirements gathering and analysis, right? So maybe your requirements are inconsistent, they're inaccurate, right? They're conflicting, they're not documented properly, right? All of that sits with the role of a business analyst, right? So this is really showing you guys that the role, right, that we do as BAs is absolutely imperative for project success. Right, return on investment, right? Another kind of key finding from the IIBA, right? So effective business analysis, right, can provide a higher ROI on projects, right? One thing I want to mention with this IIBA statistic is I saw 400%. I didn't put it in because I was like, 400%, right? I thought it was too high, but you know what? They said it, why not, right? So really great ROI, right? Achieve through better requirements management, reduced rework, and enhanced stakeholder engagement, right? Cost of poor requirements. Just think about it. If you're not documenting your requirements completely, concisely, in a good way, right? It's so expensive, right? So why not be proactive? Why not make sure that we're doing things properly so that we don't have to do rework and we don't have to fix errors, right? So fixing errors, we know definitely very expensive, right? So you don't want to be involved with that, right? And of course, ultimately, everything that we do as BAs is for our customers, right? So customer satisfaction, absolutely important, right? Companies that excel in business analysis see a 20% increase in customer satisfaction, and that's from Forrester research, right? So some really great statistics here, just showing you guys, why business analysis or the importance of business analysis, right? So I want you guys to go to www.menti.com. So if you've got another device, please access menti.com, enter this code, right? Let's see your general thoughts on business analysis, right? I've put in the code in the chat. I've put in menti.com in the chat, right? Have a look at the code 29, I think I left a 1, 2931, right? 6578. Right, and then I'll project that. Let's see what comes up in the word cloud, right? So please go to menti.com, enter this code that you see at the top of the screen. What is business analysis? I think I've given you guys 3 fields to enter your response. Let me know, guys. Let's put in some responses with regards to what you guys think business analysis is all about, right? So put in some of your key thoughts around business analysis. I don't see anyone yet inside. So please, if you do have another device, right, for those of you guys who have just entered the session, like I said, this is a highly interactive session. I want you guys to be engaged, right? I don't think you guys want to listen to my voice for the next 2 hours. So I want this to be really an engaging session. So please feel free, go to menti.com, right? Use this code, right? Let's see some of your responses in terms of what is business analysis, right? 29316578. No one yet. Please enter with your device, mobile device. Love it. Okay, the responses are coming through. Creativity, right? Requirements gathering. Okay, solutioning, innovation. I like that. A lot of people are thinking about creativity and innovation, right? People are thinking it's all about requirements. We need to somehow go and gather requirements, right? Remote. Please, who put remote work? That I like that. So business analysis is all about remote work. Okay, we can unpack that, right? Requirements gathering, 6-figure salary, right, guys? I always say to people, before you even start thinking about salaries and all, one of the key things that makes someone successful is passion, right? So really passion and understanding the discipline and really applying yourself in the discipline, right? And all of these good stuff, good things such as money and so forth will follow, right? So really passion is very important, right? Process. Yes, from a business analysis perspective, we look a lot at processes. So that's also a good thing, right? So we look a lot at processes, right? Collaboration, absolutely, right? The job that we do as BAs, we collaborate a lot. Really great responses that are coming through here. I think you probably meant thorough requirement, right? You probably meant thorough requirement there, right? Let me see what understanding the client. Also another great point that you've put there, right? You want to make sure that you are really understanding your client, what your client is doing, right? And what they are saying, because ultimately, remember, you are delivering solutions for them, right? Let me see what I haven't spoken to. Problem solving is at the heart of what we do, right? I always say to people, I think you guys have heard this analogy a lot, right? BAs, we're like doctors, right? When organizations are experiencing a lot of pain points, a lot of problems, right? They call us BAs, right, to come and help them solve their business problems, define the needs, understand opportunities, right? So we not only just go there and implement what they're saying, we do root cause analysis, right? Coming to problem solving that someone mentioned here. Right. Let me see. Forecasting, definitely eliciting. I love the word elicitation. We're going to speak about that. Right. Upscaling, dream interpreter. Ooh, that gives me a warm, fuzzy feeling. Dream interpreter. Okay. Really great responses, guys. 40 responses, right? I love these word clouds because they just give me kind of like a feeling in terms of where you guys are in terms of understanding what business analysis is all about. And these are really great points that you guys have put across. Please just make sure we're muted, right? Really great points that you guys have put across in terms of what is business analysis. Right, so I'll keep this. We can always let me know if you've got anything else, but let's go back to our slide deck, right? Right, now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be showing you guys the definition, right, for business analysis taken directly from the business analysis body of knowledge, right? So the BA book, like I mentioned before, the most current version is version 3, which is from 2015. That's the one that's been in circulation. I'm hoping the thought leaders are going to look at it quite soon in terms of revamping it. But look at the definition taken directly from the IIBA, right? Business analysis is the practice of enabling change, right, in an enterprise by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders. Let's break that up, right? So let's really break it up and speak to each one of the key things that I've just mentioned, right? The first thing being enabling change, right? So we as BAs, we are change agents, right? We come into organizations, like I said, because there's a business problem, there's a need, there's an opportunity, right? We want to create change, right? Organizations ultimately, right, they want to create change, but they bring us in to understand the needs of the enterprise, right? Design any possible solutions and describe how those solutions can deliver value, right? Business analysis, I love this quote. Business analysis helps businesses do better business, right? I always love to say this, right? We help people, help organizations do better business, right? So we identify, we define solutions that will maximize the value, right, delivered to the organization, right? We define needs, right? It's not about just taking notes. It's not about your stakeholders saying things and you're just taking notes. Absolutely not. We probe. We've got a specific way of asking questions. We've got different types of questions that we ask, right? Until we get to the actual root cause, right? We're all about treating, right, the root cause of the problem rather than the symptoms, right? Most of the time, right, when stakeholders come to you, they're coming and telling you what's going on the surface. They're telling you all of the symptoms, right? It is up to you as a business analyst to uncover the needs and really dig deep, right? We recommend solutions, right? If you can see, recommending solutions speaks to the creativity, right, and innovation that you guys put on the word cloud, right, in Mentimeter, right? For you to be able to recommend solutions, yes, you understanding the needs, but you need a certain level of creativity, right, which is a core competency that we're going to speak about a bit later on, right? And of course, value, 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 right? Project managers, time, budget, scope, BAs, quality, and value. I hope there are no project managers on the call, but I'm a passionate BA, so I always speak to business analysts, right? We're all about value. We're all about making sure that we are bringing absolute critical value to the customer, right? I always say to people, your job as a BA is not enough once you've delivered the solution. That's when your actual job starts because you want to see whether that solution that you've delivered, right, is actually giving the value that you stated in the business case, right? Every single project should have a business case, right, where you actually specify this is what we intend in terms of the value, right? So delivering value, very important, right? So really just breaking down that definition. Sometimes when you see a lot of text, right, it's quite mumbly, but really breaking down the definition to see and uncover what is business analysis, right? Any questions? Let me know if any questions. Please feel free to stop me. I'm going to go ahead, right? Core competencies, right? See, these are some of the core competencies, for business analysts, right? If you guys know the BA box, there's 6 kind of like key groupings, right, which we're going to talk about before we go into the knowledge areas, right? So the first thing is interaction skills, right? That's a key competency for business analysts, right? Let me just bring them out. Tools and technology. If you look in the BA box, quite outdated because, like I said, it's 2015. So many new tools, so many new technology. I know H.O.P.S. I think you guys had, I don't know, Figma. I think you guys are going to be doing Figma, right? All of these absolutely wonderful tools, right? That I always tell my students, don't be caught lacking, right? Some of these tools, you can have a free trial, right? There's YouTube, there's so many different avenues for you to explore tools. And once you are able and proficient to use those tools, you're able to put it on your resume, right? You may not be an expert, but definitely you can say you are proficient in terms of understanding it, right? So don't miss up on opportunities to learn about tools and technology, right? Communication skills, right, guys? 80% of the job that we do as BAs is to talk, is to communicate, is building relationships, right? It's interpersonal skills. So as a BA, it's so important for you to understand how to communicate. It's so important for you to always listen, right? Listen to understand rather than just listening to respond, right? Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, right? Seek first to understand before being understood. I always say that to a lot of my students, right? Make sure you're understanding what your customer, what your stakeholders are saying, listen to understand, and then respond afterwards, right? So communication skills, absolutely important. Business knowledge, right? Understanding, oh, you did Figma, fantastic, right? So Aditun just said you guys did Figma last week, which is fantastic, right? Business knowledge, very important for you to know your organization, right? Definitely understand your key stakeholders, understand the politics, because those will always come through, right? Understand who's who in the organization, understand the interests, right? And of course, business knowledge extends to outside, just understanding the internal business, right? Also understanding what is going out there, right? What are competitors doing, right? Remember, we said a key point is also innovation. It's about creating and recommending solutions, right? So are you doing any benchmarking, any benchmark analysis, market analysis? Are you doing any of those tools, right? To get to understand business knowledge, right? Analytical thinking and problem solving, right? The first slide that I showed you guys was all about the statistics, right, on business analysis, right? And you saw from the World Economic Forum that analytical thinking, problem solving, top class, right? Those are top 20, top skills, they said, for 2025, right? And of course, behavioral characteristics, which we'll speak to about later. Right, so you can see from this slide, I've literally just taken each one of those key competency groupings, right? So for those of you guys who are familiar with the BA book, competencies are in chapter 9, right? So if I've taken each one of those key groupings and I've kind of like just summarized it at a high level so you guys get to understand these competencies in detail, right? One thing I also want to call out is that when it comes to skills and competencies for BAs, right? So for those of you who are probably thinking of entering the profession, right? You're not starting from scratch, right? There's something called transferable skills, where I always advise a lot of people to look back on their specific kind of like career journey, right? First of all, understand all of these competencies, understand what they're about, right? And then look back on your own career to say, wait a minute, have I done any kind of like problem solving before, right? Have I done any kind of like conceptual thinking before, whatever it may be, right? So these competencies are really great in terms of you understanding, the overall kind of like makeup of a BA, first of all, right? And number two, for those of you guys who are thinking of joining the profession, right? Really understanding and looking back on your career to see, have you done this, right? So when we're talking about analytical thinking and problem solving thinking, right? We're talking about creative thinking, right? So coming up with those new ideas and those approaches, right? Decision making, right? As a BA, right, you're going to be presented with probably so many different solutions, right? So how do you choose the most appropriate solution based on analysis of all the relevant information, right? Learning skills, right? Helping BAs to quickly learn new and different type of kind of like information, right? Problem solving skills, we've spoken to that, right? Understanding root causes, systems thinking. When I say systems thinking, there's so much packed in this term, right? I teach a course where we go in detail around systems thinking, but really understanding the enterprise, right? From a holistic view, right? Looking at people, processes, technology, how does everything interact, right? Conceptual thinking, right? Conceptual thinking is looking at different types of information and kind of like linking it all together, right? Visual thinking, very important in this age where we are remote workers, right? Or where we are hybrid, right? And we're sharing screens, right? How do you present this information in a visually appealing way? Imagine if this slide that I have up, if it was just text with no color and it was just text upon text, right? You guys probably would have been disengaged, right? So how do you make your information more engaging for your stakeholders to get that buy-in, to get that engagement that you need as a BA, right? Behavioral characteristics and more depth, right? Ethics. As a BA, sometimes you might be presented in situations where you are having to take some specific decisions, right? You have to have ethics, right? As a business analyst, right? Personal accountability, right? Delivering on what you said you're going to deliver, right? If you said you're going to deliver on a business requirements document on X, Y, and Z, are you doing it? Are you doing that, right? So really it builds your credibility as a business analyst, right? One of the key things that they speak about in the industry is about becoming a trusted advisor as a BA. And to become a trusted advisor in your organization, an advisor where if there is a problem, right, they'll know to pick up the phone and call Tendai as an example, right? That's being a trusted advisor. It starts with these behavioral characteristics. You as a BA having personal accountability, delivering on what you said you're going to deliver, right? Trustworthiness, very important, right? You're going to be working a lot with, you might be working with sensitive information as well. You'll be working with quite a lot of information as a BA, so you want to make sure that you're trustworthy. Time management, I can't speak to this enough, right? You want to have great time management and, of course, adaptability. Guys, I think what the past few years have shown us is that the only thing that's constant is change, right? Change is going to continuously happen. So as a BA, how are you equipping yourself to change? How do you equip yourself to change in your product, in your projects? Are you flexible? Right. Business knowledge, I've spoken to this, right? Not only understanding your own business, but industry knowledge, solution knowledge, even methodologies, right? So many different methodologies that are on the market right now. Do you know what they are? As an example, right? Communication, I spoke to communication skills. I specifically honed in on listening skills, right? Which is making sure you understand, right? Interaction skills, a lot of the key work that you're going to do as a BA, facilitating, right? You're going to be facilitating a lot of workshops, a lot of meetings, right? How are you facilitating those meetings? Are you making sure you're going in with an agenda? Are you making sure you're going in with clear outcomes, right? Are you running the meeting in a great way? Are you summarizing at the end of the meeting in terms of next steps and action items? Very simple things, right? But sometimes when you are in the full swing of things, it's very easy to forget, right? And of course, tools and technology. Right. I'm going to take a pause there, guys. Any questions so far on the competencies that I've mentioned? Let me know. Any questions, any comments, any insights? Thanks, Shehu. Shehu said in the chat, very practical. You're welcome. Anyone else, any competencies you want me to elaborate further? Any stories that you guys have around your own kind of like journey in business analysis and how you found out that you had these competencies? Let me know. Feel free to share. It's a safe space, so we're not going to judge you, right? It's really a safe space. Let me know if you've got any questions. Otherwise, if not, I'm going to move on. Right. Right, guys. So let's now go into the knowledge areas, right? This is where the crux of business analysis is all about, right? In any industry, right, there are certain guidelines, right, processes, procedures that professionals follow, right, to be in line with industry standards. And when I look at these knowledge areas, right, they're in no way prescriptive, but they're providing.
That was when God told.
Okay, sorry about that. Mohammed, I'm just going to take it a step further. What skills overlap between a project manager, coordinator, and a BA? Right. So, Mohammed, when you're looking at a project manager and a BA, right, two totally different disciplines, right? But they work hand in hand, right? So there's a lot of handoffs that happen between project managers and BAs. So for instance, at the beginning of the project, right, project initiation phase, right, probably the BA works with the project manager, with the external stakeholders or internal stakeholders to come up with a business case, right? The project manager will probably do a project charter, right, or a statement of work. It depends on your organization and the kind of terminology that you use, right? And then that's handed over to the BA, who will then probably do a business analysis plan, right, outlining the activities, the tasks, the times that they will take to do X, Y, and Z, right? And then what they do in that business analysis plan will feed into the project management plan. FYI, I am talking about the waterfall method, also known as the software development lifecycle, also known as predictive, right? So it's quite different, right? So there's a lot of handoffs and touch points. I've just given you at the beginning with what's it called, with project initiation, but throughout the project lifecycle, a lot of handoffs and touch-offs between a BA and a project manager, right? So you need to learn to be comfortable with each other. You need to have a great working relationship, right? If you've got any problems, the PM is the one that usually escalates to the project sponsor, whoever it is, to sign off. Hopefully that answers your question. Let me know in the chat, or let me know if you've got further comments. You're welcome. Right. Any other questions? Otherwise, I was talking about the BA knowledge areas, right? And I was saying that in any industry, think about doctors, right? Think about teachers. They've got procedures, guidelines, right, that they must follow to be in line with industry standards. And it's the same thing with us as BAs, right? The BA book provides us with that, right? I mean, if I think of business analysis in general, we are teenagers, right? The BA book was probably launched early 2000s, right here in Canada. It started in this whole IIBA started in a bank, right here in Canada, right? So early 2000s, right? So 24 years old. We're still very much in our infancy, comparing that to, you know, professions such as doctors, lawyers, and all of these other established professions. So we're still very much in our infancy. Therefore, there's so much room for all of you guys that are here on the call, right, to be pioneers in this industry, right? No pressure, but to be able to really mold in terms of the profession and what it should be, right? So these knowledge areas are provided in the business analysis body of knowledge as a way of guiding us as business analysts, right? Strategy analysis is usually a starting point for any given project. What I want to say is that there's no sequential order, right? The BA book doesn't put this in sequential order, right? But I'm going to just try and speak through it so that you guys can get an understanding, high level, of what the BA kind of like life cycle looks like, right? And then we're going to launch into our case study, right? So our starting point is usually the strategy analysis, right? In strategy analysis, we're looking at where are we, where do we want to go, right? Usually the end output of strategy analysis, right, is our business case, right? Which is the first step, right? Then business analysis, planning and monitoring, right? Planning is very important. It's often really underestimated by a lot of BAs, right? But I always say, make sure you're factoring in time to plan. Plan in terms of what techniques you're going to be using in the project, planning in terms of how you're going to engage your stakeholders, planning in terms of the activities and tasks that you're going to do, right? So BA planning and monitoring, also very important, a key chapter, right? Elicitation and collaboration. I always laugh because I'm like, collaboration should be running across all of these knowledge areas, not just grouped with elicitation, right? So elicitation and collaboration, another key kind of like knowledge area within the business analysis body of knowledge. If you guys remember the statistics that I showed you at the beginning of the call, right, at the beginning of the presentation, right, most projects are failing because of requirements that are not properly documented, right? And it comes back to you maybe not even understanding the requirements. Maybe you're not eliciting those requirements properly, right? So elicitation, very important, right? Requirements analysis and design definition, a heavy chapter, right? For those of you guys who are interested in doing certification, right? Requirements analysis and design definition counts the highest percentage in most of, in fact, in all three kind of like certification exams, right? For the CBAP, it counts for 32% of the entire exam. For CCBA, I'm not sure of the actual percentage, but also a high percentage, right? As well as the ECBA. So requirements analysis and design definition, this is where the crux of documentation that you do, right? You specify your requirements, you model your requirements, you make sure that from a requirements architecture, everything's sitting well together, as an example, right? Requirements lifecycle management, right? Speaking to the fact that, you know, as a BA, like I said, you're just not eliciting your requirements, documenting them, and throwing them over the wall to a BA, right? There is a cycle, there's a life cycle management that you must follow, right? There are guidelines, procedures that you must follow, right? And of course, solution evaluation, I spoke to that, right? Really saying, is the solution meeting what we intended it to do from the start, right? So these are knowledge areas. We're going to be taking a deep dive, like I said, using a case study, right? Any questions, guys? Any comments before we launch into our case study? Oh, techniques, and then we'll go into our case study, right? Let's talk about techniques, right? One thing I want to highlight, guys, there are 50 techniques. So those of you guys who are familiar with the BA book, chapter 10, there are 50 techniques in the BA box, 50. That's a lot of techniques. That's a lot, right? For you guys to be able to really understand. So I always say to people, try and just understand what all of the techniques are and try and apply the techniques, right? Sometimes, the experienced BAs, we kind of like get caught up in kind of like sticking to the techniques that we are aware of, but always there's room for growth, there's room for applying new things, right? And learning new things. So on this slide, I'm really showing you guys high level kind of like examples of techniques. I've just broken them down according to each of some of the key areas that you guys saw before, right? Elicitation techniques, there's almost 18 techniques, 18 techniques alone for elicitation. I've just put 3 here, right? Brainstorming, document analysis, interviews, and workshops. We'll speak about that when we get to elicitation, right? Requirements analysis techniques, right? So when you're analyzing your requirements, right? Doing it using use cases, user stories, data flow diagrams, process modeling, right? Like I said, I wish this session was so long, right? I'm literally skimping on the water, but having an opportunity to do a deep dive, practice brainstorming, practice how to write use cases and so forth, right? Those are things that you guys should be looking for when you are looking to upskill yourself, right? Looking for training providers, right? Look whether they're actually giving you practical application into each one of these techniques, right? Solution assessment techniques, right? Prototyping, risk analysis, acceptance and evaluation criteria, quite a lot there, right? Strategy analysis, like I said, usually the starting point, right? Balanced scorecard, right? Business capability, business model canvas, right? Requirements lifecycle management, backlog management, requirements traceability, right? And then analysis, we've got mind mapping, process analysis, scope modeling, and state diagrams, right? So these are high level, some of the techniques that you guys can expect to find in chapter 10 or expect to do as BAs. Like I said, to really get a grasp on each one of these techniques, right, you would definitely have to come back further, come back to H.O.P.S. Hopefully we'll have more sessions where we can do deep dives into some of these things, right? Guys, any questions on what we've covered so far? It's been about 35 minutes, right? We've gone through, the statistics. We've spoken about what is business analysis. We've broken down that definition so you guys have got a good understanding of it, right? We've spoken about the key competencies. We've touched on the knowledge areas, and we've kind of like finished off with the techniques. I'm going to put out the question again. Any questions? Any comments that you guys want to share? Feel free to unmute yourself. Feel free to put it in the chat. Like I said, we want this to become a highly interactive session so that by the end of it, you guys get quite a lot. Right, let me know if any questions before we start going into each of the knowledge areas and we start walking through a case study together. Okay, seems like I've got a happy bunch today. Right, usually I get a lot of questions, but it seems like you guys are good. All right, no worries. So let's proceed, guys. Let's go to our case study. What I've done is I've put most of these items on a shared drive, right? So I'm going to put a link to the shared drive. Here we go. Oh, sure. I like the question. All right. Thank you, Muhammad. Right, Shehu, does BA use agile methodology? Right. So one thing I want to just also clarify, Shehu, agile methodology. Agile is a way of thinking, right? It's the mindset, right? So agile is kind of like the umbrella, and then we've got the different frameworks under agile, right? Which could be Scrum, Safe, Kanban, whatever it may be, right? So a BA is not that they're using agile, it's that they are practicing, right? The actual BA, whatever it may be, right? They roll within an agile environment using a specific technique, right? So Shehu, if you want to learn more about agile, I'm sure H.O.P.S will have more on that, right? So we can park that for now. Hopefully you guys are good, right? I've put a link to our masterclass, our different techniques, right? In the link, you'll find 3 folders, right? I'm here to add the other folders as you guys are in breakout rooms, right? You'll see 3 folders that we're going to work through, right? You'll see the case study, right? There's a case study on Future Bank. So if you guys can please open that case study, right, on Future Bank. And I'm just going to go back to my slide deck and share a bit more information. Where are we on my slide deck? Right. Right, we're going to be looking at this Future Bank digital transformation as a case study. I'm a firm believer that instead of me sitting here and regurgitating content or explaining content, I want you guys to do, right? I want you guys to have practical hands-on experience in terms of applying some of the concepts, right? You're not going to get the opportunity to do everything in this 2-hour session, right? But at least get an opportunity to practice stakeholder analysis, get an opportunity to do a risk assessment, right? Let's get our hands dirty, right? So I really need you guys to be on the floor, to be engaged, right? If you're not going to be engaged, please let us know, right? We want to make sure that everyone is engaged, right? So we've got the case study, Future Bank Digital Transformation, right? It's a one-page case study, so don't feel alarmed. It's not like pages upon pages. Sometimes I do give pages upon pages, right? So it is a one-page, one and a few lines, right? It is a one-page case study, right? In terms of how the bank wants to go digital, some of the key components of the project, right? Of course, it's very high level. So some of the exercises that you're going to be doing, I'm going to ask you if you are making assumptions, note them, right? Note down your assumptions and tell us how you come to a specific answer, right? So is everyone able to access the case study before I move on? Let me know. Just give me a yes or give me a thumbs up. Give me a yes, give me a thumbs up. Okay, thanks, Ayodele. I see that. Everyone else, okay, fantastic. Rukayat, thank you so much. So a lot of people saying that they're able. I can see a lot of thumbs up as well. Thank you guys, appreciate that. Right, so a lot of people are able to access the case study. Fantastic, right. So what we're going to start off with, guys, is we're going to start off with strategy analysis. Remember what I said is we've got 6 knowledge areas that we as BAs participate in, right? So we're going to start off with strategy analysis. Strategy analysis is the starting point for any given project, right? It answers questions such as where are we, right? Where do we want to go, right? Where are we? Where do we want to go? What are our capabilities as a business? Right? What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? What are our opportunities? What are our threats? Right? What kind of risks are there? Right? So before you start any project, it's very important, right, to do a current state assessment, right, to analyze where are we currently, right? What do we hope to achieve with this project? What is our purpose, right? What are our objectives, right? These are very important questions. I always say to BAs, if you are starting a project midway, not even midway, if you're starting a project whereby someone is coming to you and say, please write a business requirements document, I always say to BAs, push back. Why should you push back? You want to understand the why, right? You can't go ahead and start just having sessions with people in terms of business requirements without understanding what the project, why are we doing this, right? What is the purpose? What are the objectives? So I always say to a lot of BAs, the first and utmost starting point for any single given project. Quote me, guys, if you go back to your workplaces, say there's a lady in H.O.P.S who was saying, I should ask for a business case. Rather do that, because if you don't ask for a business case, right, and you do requirements that are not even aligned with what the organization or the why, right, guess what, guys? Trust me, I've been in situations where it will come back to you and say, okay, so how did we get to these requirements? How come they're not aligned with where we want to go? Right. So you want to make sure that as a BA, you are always asking for a business case, if not even to be involved in the business case, right? That's even much better. Be involved in documenting the business case should the opportunity allow you to, right? Some organizations are so large that you don't have that, but in smaller to medium organizations, you can have that opportunity, right, to participate in business case, right? So when we're talking about strategy analysis, we're looking at 3 key things, actually four key kind of like tasks. They call them tasks in the BA book, right? We are looking at analyzing the current state. Where are we? Right? We're looking at defining the future state, right? After defining the future state, we're also looking at assessing risks, right? And finally, defining our change strategy, right? So those are some of the key things that we look at as BAs when it comes to understanding the current strategy analysis, right? So let's just go into a bit of detail in terms of strategy analysis, right? Some of the questions or some of the elements, right, that you'll look at when we're talking about current state, right? You want to understand what are our business needs as an organization, what it is, right? What do we want to achieve, right? As an organization, what are some of our business needs, right? These are very important things to ask, right? Organizational structure and culture, who's who in the organization? What is our culture, right? What are our key capabilities, right? Business model canvas, an absolutely great technique tool for you guys to use. So if you haven't heard about that, please make a note. Please go ahead, do some research on it. A fantastic tool for you guys to get a good snapshot in terms of key capabilities and processes of business, right? Technology, infrastructure, what are our key systems? What are the integration points, right? What are our business rules, our policies, right? How does everything kind of like fit together, business architecture, right? What are key internal assets, right? And what are some of the external influences, right? So these are some of the items when we're saying analyze current state, going back to the first slide, when I'm saying in strategy analysis, we analyze the current state, right? These are some of the things that we look at when we're talking about current states. Guys, like I said, I want to say that there's so much more involved in each one of these, but I'm just talking to this at a very high level. Ayodele, can the business needs be similar to the business objectives? Right. So when we're talking about the needs, right, Ayodele, we're really talking about what's the problem, what's the opportunity, right? What exactly is the business trying to achieve, right? Then you can have your business objectives, which can be smart, right? So your business needs can be very high level. Your business objectives are more specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound, right? Ayodele, hopefully that answers your question. Let me know if you've got any more questions, right? When we're looking at defining the futures state, great, thank you, right? We're also looking at all of these elements. Like I said, guys, very high level, right? That's when we're not talking about business goal, right? Remember, Ayodele, you asked about the business needs. Your business needs, you're uncovering them when you're analyzing your current state, right? When you're now defining your future state, you're now talking about your goals, right? Your objectives, your smart objectives. What does our solution, I'll get to you, Joe, what our solution look like, right? Constraints, structure, culture, all of these things that I put on the screen, right? That's when you're now looking at future state. Joe, in terms of who writes the business case, I want to say it depends on the organization, right? Best practice, I don't like saying best, leading practice, you want the BA to be involved, right, with probably the project sponsor and other key stakeholders, right, in terms of defining that business case, right? So you as the BA, you've got the headings, you've got the templates, you're going in there and you're facilitating the session, right? That's best case scenario. In some scenarios, some situations, the organizations are so large that business cases are done at a high level, then they trickle down to the PMO office, right? So it really depends, Joe, right? But if you do have an opportunity to be involved in the business case, please do it from a business analyst point of view. It will make your job much simpler because you've been involved from the very get-go. Right, Joe, are you happy with that? Let me know if any other questions, or let me know if you're good with that answer. Right. So guys, that was strategy analysis at a very, you're welcome, at a very high level. And now I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to practice a few things within the strategy analysis. Like I said, guys, I want you guys to get the purpose of a masterclass. If this was just a presentation, it would have been 45 minutes. I would have presented a subset of something and you guys would leave, right? I want you guys to walk away from this call at least saying I'm able to do, right? Not I've listened to Tendai saying X, Y, and Z. I am able to do a SWOT analysis. I am able to do X, Y, and Z, right? So let's leave this with some practical hands-on experience, right? So the case study that you guys have, right? Everyone has confirmed that they're able to access it, right? If you go back to that folder as well, that same folder that I shared with you guys, you will be able to see number one, SWOT analysis, right? So as part of strategy analysis, there are a lot of tools and techniques that are used. Let's say techniques that are used. One of the techniques that is used is SWOT analysis, right? So I want you guys to perform a SWOT analysis based on what is there on the case study. I am aware that the case study may be very high level, so I'm inviting you guys to put in your assumptions, right? To be creative, right? And put in your assumptions. So there's instructions here, right? Open up the instructions, review the case study, right? Identify some strengths, identify weaknesses, identify opportunities, identify threats, right? And document your findings, right? So open up that SWOT analysis Google Drive folder, right? You'll be able to see the instructions, first of all, and then there's a template that's in Microsoft Word, right? So what I'm going to ask you guys to do, you want me to share the link as well to the drive? No problem, I'll share that again. Let me just go back and let me share the overarching folder, the link to the drive. Here you go. Here we go. So you're going to, hopefully you guys have got it right, and you're looking at the first folder, SWOT analysis. Right, you're welcome. So Adefemi, right now, the SWOT analysis that you're doing it on the organization, right? You're looking at what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses. There's a template here, right? I'm going to advise you guys to download the template so that we don't have people typing on top of each other, right? Because it is shared. I'm already seeing a lot of people here. So please download it. When I put you in your groups, download it for your specific group and type there. Otherwise, we'll be typing on top of each other. So I'm going to ask you guys to download the template on your respective kind of like laptops, right? Read the case study, come up with some strengths, right? If you don't have enough information, that's okay. make assumptions and put in some strengths, some weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Right. Before I put you guys in your breakout rooms, first of all, are we clear on the ask, on the instruction? Are you guys clear on the instruction? Let me know with a thumbs up. Give me a yes in the chat. Thumbs up or a yes. Okay, oh, great. Mohammed, thank you so much. Thank you, Andrew. A lot of thumbs up that I'm seeing. Fantastic. So everyone's clear on the ask. You're going to read the case study. You're going to do a bit of SWOT analysis, right? I'm going to start now putting you guys into, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I think there's a question about
Yes.
do we perform SWOT analysis for all the project?
Yes,
I don't know if
I
it's
just
related.
I spoke to that. Yes, I spoke to
Oh, okay.
Adefemi. I told him that we're doing it right now just for starting off the project, right? You want to see for the organization, right? What are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats?
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Addition. Appreciate that. Right. So I'm going to put you guys into breakout rooms. Please, one of the key things I want you guys to do is please introduce yourself in your breakout rooms, right? Just have an introduction. Let me see how I can do the breakout rooms, maybe make them a bit intimate. So I don't want to make sure that they're not too big so you guys can have an opportunity. There's 50 people on the call, right? I'm going to create 10 breakout rooms. So there's 5 people per breakout room. Okay, I know I've got some of my admins as well, but I'll make sure that I shuffle things around, right? So I'm going to open up all the rooms. Please join your room. Please make sure you've got your case study. Please make sure you've got your SWOT analysis template and start listing some of the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? I see some people are joining, which is fantastic. Then I'll keep my admins here. I just want to see how the groups will look like, right? Let's join, guys. Let's join. I've still got 27 people. The only people that should be left on this call are myself, Bola, Adatun, right? And any other H.O.P.S individual, but everyone else should be in their specific groups. An opportunity for you guys to do this, right? And to be able to say, I've done SWOT analysis as a BA, right? Not a complicated technique, but a fantastic technique to learn. Okay, let's join the groups, guys. Please go ahead. I've got 17 people still on the call with me. Please join your groups. There's some people who are sitting, who are lonely. Oh, there's one group which is full, which is fantastic. Okay, it seems like we've got on average people. Okay, Ayodele is alone in group 3. Okay, guys, let's join group 3. Let's join Dapo, Joe. Please join your groups. Nidhi, please join. Sarah, please join. Tolu, please join. Victoria, please join. Let's join our groups, guys. Let's get our hands dirty. Let's get to experience what it is like to be a BA, right? In this case, with limited information, right? With some high level information. Let's join the groups, guys. Fantastic. Keep joining. Keep joining. Keep joining the group. Keep joining the group, guys. We'll come back, we'll debrief, and then we can take a break because I know you guys probably need a break, but let's keep joining our groups. Still got about 10 people on the call with me. Please join your groups. I can already see a lot of discussions happening. People are talking in the groups, which is very great. Please join your groups. Anyone else who's just joined now, you've missed a fantastic first hour. People are already in the breakout rooms, already practicing business analysis. They're becoming quite proficient in some techniques. So please join your groups. I'm looking at the groups right now. Right, Mercy, welcome. We are already doing some group work. I will assign you to a group. Maybe just go and listen in, Mercy, because I am aware you've just joined, so not a problem as well. You can just go in and listen in to see what they're saying. Right, anyone else, please join. We're giving the groups 15 minutes to do this piece of work, right? So please go ahead, get to learn something new, get to talk. I'm going to be jumping in between the groups. Okay, I see people are talking, people are even sharing their screens in groups, which is fantastic, right? Group 9 is active, group 10. Okay, so most groups, people are chatting, which I love to see, right? People are talking, people are chatting, people are getting their hands dirty. So let's see how that will work. Let me just see which groups. Okay, groups are sharing screens, fantastic. We've got 10 groups. Everyone else who's left on this call, right? Please, if you can, even if you're not able to participate, go and have a listen to what the groups are saying, right? Go and understand what it's all about. It's one thing, like I said, listening to someone chatting versus actually doing the work, right? So go in and have a look. Or like, oh, Tendai, Tendai, you should have given us more time. We need more time. Plus,
Yeah, so
We just started.
you know what? That's why I said this session could take us easily 6 hours, right, to cover everything. I know there's not a lot of time, right? But again, maybe the most important thing is more of the thinking process and the application thereof, right? I think that's what I want to get from you guys. So I want to call it at least 2 groups to give us some feedback. The feedback I want is how your group got started. What are some of the thoughts that you guys went through? Take me through some of your, not the entire SWOT, but let me know what you guys, take me through the quadrant you're most passionate about. Is it strength, weakness, opportunity, strength? I see a lot of hands, and I'm going to go with Andrew first, and then I'll go with Sarah's group. So let's start with Andrew. Andrew, your group, which group were you in? Tell me some of the people. You're with Michael and Tolu, right? Am I right, Andrew?
yes, thank you very much. It's been a very good one. So I was only able to, I was in group 8, meeting room 8 with Michael. Tolu was meant to be with us, but she left at the time. So basically what we did was to quickly go over what the instructions are to start with, so that we understand so that we can understand.
Andrew, we're losing you a bit, Andrew. Michael, you want to take over? Andrew, we seem to have lost Andrew. We've lost your audio.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so what we did was we quickly went through. Okay, Andrew, are you back?
Yes.
Okay.
So we read the case study, and we came back to what we were meant to do. Hello.
We can hear you, Andrew. Go ahead, loud and clear.
Okay, so because of the lack of time, we had finished with the first and second quadrant. So for the strengths, we noticed that they are headquartered in a major city with a very good branch network. 50 branches in the region is not something, it's an advantage. So it's a strength on their part.
Yes.
Also, we understand that one of their strengths also is they have a wide range of products and customer base.
Great.
So based on this, we looked at it that they are able to leverage on these strengths to promote and support their digital transformation that they are planning to go on, which brings us to their weakness. And one of the major weaknesses is the fact that they lack digital innovation as it is presently.
Absolutely. That's why they're launching the project, right? So they don't have enough capabilities or competencies, right, in digital transformation, digital capabilities.
Exactly. So we have not finished the opportunities, but for threats, we recognize that one of the threats would be the hackers. So they need to, the hackers, because now that they are going digital, they need to have one of their threats would be the hackers, then of course their competitors. So that's where we were.
Absolutely. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Michael and Tolu, who dropped off. I know there's never enough time, but at least you guys have managed to apply yourself, right? Apply this technique to a specific case study. So I appreciate your input and appreciate your presentation. Thank you. Great job. Let's go through to Sarah. Sarah, over to you. Let me know who was in your group, Sarah. And you can let us know how you guys got started.
Thank you very much. First of all, we didn't really have much time to introduce ourselves. We just got into the work.
I love
we read
that.
the business case that was given, and we went into identifying the SWOT parameters for the bank. And one of their strengths, part of the strength that we observed was their strong presence in numbers and their customer base and their regional presence. It was leverage for them. And one of their weaknesses is their lack of digital presence.
Yes.
Because of the current fintech rate and the strong competitive presence of digital innovations, they will be losing their clients to this competition, which is also part of the weaknesses. And the opportunities that we found was opportunity to go digital, to make more money developing new digital products, adding it to their previous bucket list. We believe that if they can come up with these digital innovations, not only are they going to increase customer retention, they are still going to increase their bottom line in terms of onboarding new customers, being that they have very good presence already. That shows that they have very good reputation. So leveraging on all of that is going to
Absolutely.
increase their customer base, increase their ROI at the end of the day. So these are the basic things that we looked about quickly.
Well spoken. Well spoken, Sarah.
I saw the answer. I'm sorry. I didn't really take it in.
No worries. Well spoken. Thank you so much for representing. I think, Sarah, you were with Adefemi, with Ajibola, Lucia, and Mulik. I think it's Muliket. Yes. Okay. Well done to your group, and thank you so much for the feedback, guys. I won't have enough time to take anyone unless someone's got a burning passion to say, Tendai, I need to present, right? I trust you guys had a great, robust discussion in your individual groups, in your specific groups. Like I said, also, guys, yes, this might be a session to learn about business analysis, but also putting you guys in breakout rooms is giving you opportunity to also connect and network. So don't forget to introduce yourselves. You might find like-minded people. Who knows? You guys might be so passionate that you say, you know what, let's meet after the H.O.P.S session and make sure that we finish up this case study. I always say to the students that I teach, mentor, and coach to say, these are the kind of things that you can take as artifacts into job interviews, right? They can say, walk us through, have you been through a project? Yes, I've done one hypothetically. This is what I did, right? So this provides hands-on experience. Okay, guys, it is 2:16 EST. I want to give us 4 minutes, stretch, take a break, right? I know in terms of retention, education, retention, attention span, right? 45 minutes is max. And we've been going like steam, full on steam train, right? So let's take 4 minutes. Let's come back at 2:20 EST. Take some water, take a stretch, walk around, do something, right? Come back to your desk, be seated. In about 3 minutes, we'll go on to the next knowledge area, right? So which I'm going to go here. I have a model answer here, which I can always give to Adetun to share, right? But we'll go into the next knowledge area, which is BA planning and monitoring. Right, guys, I'll see you guys in 3 minutes. Please do take a break, screen from our screens, and then I'll see you guys in 3 minutes. So you've done your business case. Thank you so much. Right, so you've done your business case. Right, it's been approved, whatever it may be. It's come through to the PMO office if there is one, and there you are sitting there as a BA. Right, one of the first things that you need to do is you need to plan. And I love this quote. If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. Right, it really speaks volumes. Right, you want to make sure that you've laid through a roadmap in terms of how you're going to tackle this analysis. Right, also it gives you assurance that you are following leading practice, and also it feeds into the project plan if you are working in a predictive environment, also known as a waterfall environment, right? So really, BA planning and monitoring is one of those chapters or one of those phases in a project, let's call it phases, that's underestimated, but it's actually so important, right? And they're key pillars that speak to what you must do as a BA, right? Remember with strategy analysis, it was analyze current state, define future state, assess risks, right? And define a change strategy. It's the same thing with BA planning and monitoring. We've got 5 tasks here, right? You have to plan your BA approach. And when I say BA approach, what am I talking about, right? You're going to be asking yourself as a BA, what techniques am I going to be using, right? When am I going to be using those techniques? What are my timelines? What deliverables will I be producing? Someone spoke about a business requirements document, right? Some BAs do functional requirements documents, use cases, user stories, whatever it may be, right? You need to be able to document that and give yourself timelines, right? Remember, project, the very definition of a project is the temporary endeavor, right? It's got a start and an end. So you want to make sure that at the end of the day, you are fitting in your timelines with the overall project plan, right? So planning your BA approach is very important as a BA, right? Planning your stakeholder engagement, also very important, right? Who are your key stakeholders, right? And stakeholders, guys, are going to have kind of like different methods or different ways of communicating, right? They've all got different ways of communicating. We all know when it comes to our stakeholders, right? So when we are saying plan stakeholder engagement, which is the second kind of like box on the screen that you guys can see, right? We're really talking about understanding your stakeholders, understanding their roles, their attitudes, right? Their authority levels, right? Their power, the influence, right? So when we're talking about roles, right, which are the stakeholders that will be affected by the change? What is their role in the organization, right? When we're talking about attitudes, right, are they for the change? Are they against the change, right? Why is that important? Because the people against the change, right, can have a significant impact on the success or failure of the project. So you want to make sure that you really understand who's who, right, in your organization, and what their attitudes are, positive or negative, right? Understand the authority levels, right? Understanding authority levels helps you understand who's going to be making decisions. Yes, ultimately we've got a project sponsor when we've got anything that is, not going okay, but who will make decisions relating to the business analysis work or any other kind of like work that you would be doing, right? And then you want to be determining the amount of influence, right? All under stakeholder engagement is roles, attitude, authority, and influence, right? And then we're talking about BA governance, right? When we're talking about BA governance, as yourself as a BA, right? How are my tasks going to be approached, right? How will I prioritize my work, right? If there's any changes, right? What is the process, right? A change request process, a change process is very necessary for any project to outline, any BA to outline, because trust me, there is going to be changes, right? We're talking about planning your BA information management. So all of those documents that you're going to be producing as a BA, where are they going to be stored? Who will be accessing those documents, right? Identifying BA performance improvements, which is the final thing, right? Making sure that you're able to really see where you are going. That's the monitoring aspect, right? Where you can improve. Continuous improvement is a good mindset for any BA to have, right? So BA planning and monitoring, a key knowledge area for BAs. Let me know if any questions, right? Going back to our case study, right? For this one, maybe I just want to see the time frames. I know we're behind time, right? It's 2:26, which is okay, right? Going back to our case study, right? If you guys look into the second folder, if we go back to our case study, let me see if I can go back there, right? If you look into the second kind of like folder, you'll see the BA planning and monitoring, right? Which is the second knowledge area, right? In there, I've put in an analysis plan, right? Remember, like I said, an analysis plan is like a roadmap. It's showing you this is where you are, right? This is where you're going with the project. This is the work that you're going to be doing, right? So you'll see here at a very high level, please go in there and have a look, right? For those of you who've just joined, I'll also just put in the link so you can have the link here. I'll put it in the chat. Here we go. Right, so you can see I've listed here key activities, right? A description of that activity, the timeline, and the deliverables, right? So the first activity that you usually do on any project, right? You want to review the business case, you want to see background information, you want to document key stakeholders, right? And you're going to come up with a stakeholder list, right? You're going to do requirements planning, which is what we're talking about now, right? What are the approach, what tools, what techniques am I going to use, right? My timelines might be off, definitely depends on your expertise. A lot of questions I get is, Tendai, how do I make sure that I'm estimating right? I'm not shortchanging myself, first of all, right? I'm not giving myself too little time. And also I'm making sure that I'm not overestimating, right? So those are some of the questions I get. I always say to people, it comes with experience. If you're not sure, lean on the expertise of a more senior BA, go and ask them, get some input, right? And if you're a newbie, maybe always add a buffer of like 5 to 10%, right? If you think something will take you a day, maybe add a half day on top of that, because you never know, so many different unknowns, right? Which is very important, right? Requirements planning, right? Like I said, elicitation and gathering, right? Conducting interviews, surveys, workshops to gather those requirements, right? Requirements analysis is the next step that I've put in the plan, where you're now going to analyze all of those requirements that you've got, all of those elicitation results that you've got. You're going to analyze and validate them, right? You're going to produce your business requirements document, right? Someone spoke to this, right? You're going to get them reviewed and approved, right? Approved requirements document, right? You're going to go into solution design, where you're going to be talking to the development team, right? To liaise in terms of how we're going to build this, right? Consulting technical experts. Some people even have solutions architects. You're going to produce what's called a functional requirements document, right? You're going to your implementation plan, which is the testing, right? UAT testing, and then finally, of course, evaluating that, right? At a high level for any given project, these are some of the activities that you will see. Of course, these would differ, right, depending on the actual context of project, but at a high level, these are some of the items that you would see. Right. Any questions on business analysis, planning, and monitoring? Let me know if you guys have got any questions. Are we all on the same page? Give me I was going to say a high five. Give me a thumbs up to make sure that I'm not talking to myself. You guys are all with me. Are you still with me? Okay, I see some thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you. All right, thank you. High five. I also see some high fives, which is great. Okay, so you guys are all still with me, which is fantastic. Right, thank you guys. Right, let's go back to our slide deck. I just want to go back to our slide deck. Here we go. Right, so you've seen the business analysis plan that I've just given you guys, right? So what I want you guys to do now is to think about the potential stakeholders that will be involved in the project. We are still looking at Future Bank, our case study, right? What are the potential stakeholders that will be involved in this specific project, right? Going back to that folder, right? And again, going back to our folder, you will notice that I have put in there, kind of like to get you guys started, so you're not starting from scratch, right? I have put there, here we go, a stakeholder plan template, a very high level stakeholder plan template, right? So have a look at this, right? Have a look. I've put here stakeholders, sponsor, what their role is. The interest and influence is definitely high, right? They've got a high interest, they've got a high influence, right? This is the engagement strategy that you'll be using with them, right? Your end users, right? Start filling out compliance team, marketing team. What are some of their roles? Describe the role, right? Give me the interest, give me the influence, right? Even if you go into your groups, even if you can just manage to at least do one, I'm not expecting you to do all of them, right? Please go ahead and do what you can in your specific groups, right? I see people already there. Please go into your groups. You'll see a link there to join your groups, still the same groups. So I'm going to keep the same groups, right? So the group that you guys did strategy analysis, your SWOT analysis, you are now going to do a stakeholder plan, right? So please join your group. Make sure you download it so you're not typing on top of other people, right? Make sure you're downloading, and then let's see. Oh, there's a big difference. Olu, there's a big difference between use cases and lessons learned. I'll explain afterwards, right? Let's get going with this activity. Right, please join your groups. Please join your groups. Please go ahead, join your groups. Let's do a stakeholder plan at a very high level. Try and fill out at least 2 of these stakeholders. What is the role? What is the interest? What is the influence? What is the engagement strategy? Let's join our groups and let's see if we're able to complete, right? Let's join our groups. I'm only giving you guys 5 minutes, so there's not a lot of time. Go in, complete, start looking at the roles, the interest, the influence, the engagement strategy. This is something that BAs we always need to do, because we really, like I said, BA planning is all about understanding your stakeholders. So this is an important exercise, right? And this is something you can also speak to, you know, in the event that you are looking for a role and you get an interview, right? You can say you've managed to do stakeholder planning, right? You've managed to do a stakeholder plan. We know who wants to volunteer. Who wants to volunteer to give us some feedback on their stakeholder plan? Right, let me know. Anyone keen? Yes, I see a hands up from, who is that from? Aditun, do you see that hands up?
It's Mohammed.
Mohammed. Okay, let's go with Mohammed, and then we'll go with LL, I think. Okay, Mohammed. Okay.
Thank you very much. We are working on this matrix, and when it comes to the compliance team, the role is to having compliance with the regulatory requirements, right? The interest would be medium, but the influence would be high.
The interest of them is medium, okay, and the influence is definitely high, because you need to make sure you comply, okay, and your engagement strategy?
It would be regulatory requirement sessions.
Okay, yes. And how often do you think you'll have those, Mohammed?
Those would have to be like weekly or monthly, I guess.
I think, yeah, depends on the cadence of the project, right? Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, thanks, Mohammed. You want another point, another stakeholder?
Yeah, sort of. We have to go with like the IT team. And it would be the development of the solution. Their role would be the development of the solution, like actually producing the end product or the service, right?
Absolutely.
Their interest would be high and their influence would be high as well.
Okay, that's great, because they are the doers. They're actually doing the system, right? The solution.
Right.
Okay.
And the engagement strategy would be the regular updates and agile ceremonies, like daily stand-ups and like sprint reviews.
That's good. Yeah, because you want to keep abreast in terms of what is going on as they code, right? Which is good.
Right.
Okay. Thanks. And how was the experience for your group, Mohammed? Are you getting to connect?
Yes, definitely. This experience is very, very unique, and I'd say it's very liberating as well, because when you're working together with a team, it's actually very liberating.
I love that. I love that. Thanks, Mohammed. Thank you for sharing. Appreciate all your input, engagement. Right. And
Thank
then
you so much.
finally, you're welcome. LL. LL
Actually,
Cool
it's
J.
I.
I'm even calling you LL Cool J.
It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
I
I'll
go
take it.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So do you want me to share screen or
Oh,
just
you can talk through it. You can just talk through it. You can talk through it.
okay, I'll talk
Yeah.
talk through it. So for the
Mhm,
compliance team,
mhm.
so on my team, I had Rukayat and Lasisi, great guys.
Okay.
So we interacted and we decided for the compliance team,
Mhm,
we we imagine they will be out there to help mitigate risk
mhm.
and then ensure guidelines are in focus when we're building up the project roles, if you like, or the project roadmap. And then
Absolutely.
for the interest, they should be high.
Mhm.
For influence, we went with medium. Well,
Medium. Okay, that's fair.
we're open to learning anyway. So,
Okay.
and then in terms of engagement strategy, we decided they would be, their role will be pretty much be for data protection, doing data protection checks and
Mhm.
cybersecurity checks as well.
Okay. That works.
Then
That works.
for the marketing team, we
Marketing.
decided their role should be providing insights and product promotion as well.
Okay.
For
Fantastic. And the interest?
interest should be high and the influence medium as well.
Okay. And your
Right.
engagement strategy?
Engagement strategy, user feedback sessions, functionality testing.
Okay.
Right.
Great. That works. That works.
Okay. For the
And
IT team.
the
Okay, go ahead.
marketing
Sorry.
team, I just want to say, no worries. I just want to say the marketing team, these teams usually, I've been in projects where we've engaged them way too late. I don't know why we did that. So you want to be able to engage these people right from the start. So I'll
Early
say your
on.
engagement strategy, we engaged them so late, too late, right? And they had a significant impact. One of the projects that I was working on was redesigning an entire registration system, right? They had a significant impact in terms of branding, design elements, and we weren't aware of that. So these peripheral teams, I always say to people, bring them right up front in terms of engagement, and they will naturally, with natural attrition, they'll drop off where they see that they don't really need to put an input, but bring them right from the start and start your engagement early and do it quite often. Go ahead with your last.
Perfect.
Okay.
So for IT team, their role should be project delivery, and like the previous guy said, develop the application of the software, right? But in terms of their role should be delivering the application anyway. Interest for sure should be high. Their influence should be high, and then engagement strategy will be functionality testing, and then user feedback sessions as well.
Fantastic. Well articulated. Thank you so much. And I'm hoping you're getting the opportunity to network in your group as well. I think you said I.
Yep. Or Ishmael, if you like.
Ishmael. All right. Ishmael, thank you so much. Appreciate all your feedback. Right.
No
And
worries.
well
Thank you.
articulated. All right. Okay, guys. So within the BA planning and monitoring knowledge area, you've got an opportunity to apply stakeholder engagement. There's so many other things that you can do within this area, right? Like I said, we're literally just touching on the surface with each one of these. So we've done strategy analysis, you did SWOT, we've done BA planning and monitoring, you've done a stakeholder engagement, right? We're going to go into one of my favorite chapters, right? Or knowledge area, which is elicitation, right? And whenever I start with elicitation, before I even go into the theory, I love to show this slide all the time, every day, all day, every day. I show this slide because this slide, it really shows you how things that are not elicited properly from the beginning can have a detrimental effect on the project, right? This is what the customer really wanted, right? And I think you guys have seen this. This is always on so many social media platforms, right? If you guys are following thought leaders or whoever it may be, right? This is really what the customer wanted, the tree with the swing. But look at the way they explained it, right? If you were a good BA, right, you would have definitely probed and asked the right questions so that you could get to this actual thing that they want, right? But look at how they explained it. Probably the BA just took it word for word. They passed it on to the project leader. They misinterpreted it and so forth, and the ripple effect. And ultimately what was delivered, do they have what was delivered? I don't think they don't have what was delivered, but ultimately it was something that is completely different, right? So this is called the tree swing analogy. It's very common as well in a lot of literature, a lot of project management literature. So you can Google tree swing analogy, you'll be able to see it, right? So elicitation is at the heart of what we do as BAs, guys. We are constantly eliciting. It is not a once-off phase. it is continuous, right? What I'm showing you guys on the screen right now are the 5 tasks that are kind of like documented within the BA book, right? You prepare for elicitation where you want to make sure, I always say to people when I'm talking about elicitation also, right? It's more than requirements gathering, right? You're not going in, like I said, and just taking notes, right? I think I should have a diagram I love this, right? I also picked this up as well from some of the social media channels, right? So requirements gathering, right? You're just collecting seashells, you're taking what you see, you're getting the information, it's very reactive, right? With elicitation, if you guys know of the word archaeology, right? You're really mining deep, it's planned, it's deliberative, it's proactive, right? Which starts with going back to the first slide, preparing for elicitation, right? Making sure you're adequately prepared. What does that mean? Think of yourself going into a meeting. Do you have an agenda? Do you have the right resources? Have you done the right kind of like background information? The worst is going into a meeting and people telling you, but Tendai, we've already spoken about that. Why are we speaking about this now, right? I've seen that happen. It's happened to me, right? So you want to do a lot of preparation prior to the meeting, right? To make sure that you're adequately prepared, right? Do you have the right stakeholders, right? Have you given people enough time? Do they know the techniques that they're going to be working with? So much involved, guys, in preparing, conducting the elicitation. Like I said, there are 18 out of those 50 BA BOK techniques, 18 of them relate alone to elicitation. You as a BA, have you chosen the right technique? If you've chosen workshop, right, do you know how to facilitate a workshop? Do you know how to guide a workshop? Do you know how to capture all of the outcomes, right? Confirming the elicitation results, right? So once you've had the elicitation, it's not about just going out of the meeting and saying, right, we're done, let's move ahead, let's pass the information to our developers to start coding. You need to go back, guys, this is what I captured. Is it correct? Am I missing anything? Are there any action items that I'm missing, right? Communication is part of elicitation, right? Also very iterative, and collaboration. You always want to make sure that before your requirements are signed off, before your elicitation results, actually, that's what we're talking about right now. We want to make sure that all of your stakeholders have got consensus, right? They fully understand what you're doing. They fully understand all of the requirements that you've documented. Right. So elicitation, guys, great tree string analogy, great diagram showing you how it's different from merely requirements. We're not note takers. We're not document writers. I don't like it when, I hope they know PMs. PMs come and say, just take notes, right? What they're saying. No, right? We are more than that. We do requirements elicitation, right? These are the elicitation techniques that I've taken out of the BA book. So many of them, guys. You can see there's quite a lot of them. I'm not going to go into detail. I'll probably speak to, maybe highlight the 5 top techniques that are used quite a lot by a lot of BAs. I'll definitely say document analysis. That's one thing you guys should actually be doing even right now, right? Document analysis is a powerful technique, elicitation technique. You're looking back on previous documentation to see what was done, right? You're actually coming up maybe with mind maps, you're making notes. So it's just not about reading, you're also putting it together. So document analysis is very popular, right? Interviews, right? Whether they be one-on-one interviews or maybe you're interviewing a few people, also a very popular technique. Know what type of questions you're going to be asking. Are they going to be open-ended questions? Have you written them down, right? So many nuances involved in interviewing, right? So document analysis, popular interviews. I would say observation, right? Observation has been a technique that has been very useful to me as a BA, right? Right now, I am consulting, like I said, and going into different environments and understanding what is being done in there, right? Just by observing, whether it be passive or maybe it's active observation where I'm asking questions. So a really great technique, especially if you want to understand how processes are done, right? Process analysis, actually, I'll say process modeling, right? We always model first before we analyze, right? So process modeling, another great technique for you to understand the sequence of events that happen within a process, right? And then let me see which other brainstorming, fantastic one as well. Like I said, guys, I'm literally just touching the surface. We can have another session where we just going into detail into each one of these, but just as long as you understand what the different techniques are, right? I am aware that we've got 8 more minutes left till the end of the session. So maybe let's look at this last exercise that has to do with elicitation, right? Again, another exercise, we've spoken at a high level what elicitation is, right? So still with the case study, you as a BA, you've decided, I want to interview, right? I want to get the initial requirements for this mobile app for Future Bank, right? So I want to do one-on-one interviews with my stakeholders, right? What kind of questions would you ask, right? What kind of questions would you ask your stakeholders, right? In those one-on-one interviews? That's what I wanted you guys to come up with. So if you go back to our shared drive, right, you will see a third folder, written, elicitation, and collaboration. And in there, you'll see for Future Bank, I've put in a few questions, right, in terms of the questions you could ask for customer experience, right, pain points, right, and I've put other categories there as well, right. See if you can come up with a few more questions. Think of yourself as a BA. You've done your strategy analysis, you've planned your work, you're now thinking about elicitation, and you're thinking of doing an interview. Remember, you're interviewing your stakeholders to ask about requirements for this mobile app for the bank, right? What are some of the questions that you would ask, right? I've put in some guidelines in terms of categories, but please feel free to just even jot down questions, download it, just jot down questions. They don't need to be category specific, but this is the type of work that you would do as a BA to prepare for elicitation, to make sure that you are fully up to speed with what needs to be done, right? Put in some questions. I see quite a lot of people there. I think, Adetun, is it okay if I open up the breakout rooms? They come, we present, and then we can kind of like call it a day. Is that okay? Let me know if from a time.
It is maybe 5 minutes. Just
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, so 5 minutes, guys. I'm only giving you 5 minutes in this last breakout room. Go ahead and document some of your questions. Let's wrap up elicitation and collaboration, right? So 5 minutes, please go ahead, join your groups, right? Do a couple of interview questions that you would ask your customers for this mobile banking app, right? Have a discussion in your group. Kindly go ahead, join. You've got the same people that you were with before, so no introductions required, right? AJ, you are new. AJ, Banker, and Liz. I'm just going to slot you into different rooms, so please just go ahead, listen to what they're saying. I see you guys went here previously, so just go in and go into the specific groups, hear what they're saying. We are talking about elicitation, and then we can have a debrief and hopefully call it a day. Yeah. Okay. So, Fao or Sally? Okay, let's hear some feedback from you guys on the elicitation, the interview questions. Anyone, please feel free to unmute. Okay, Abdul.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Abdul. Welcome and go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So for in our group, we were able to brainstorm and came up with couples of things, but we didn't have enough time to write it down. But I'll just quickly speak to it.
Sure.
In terms of security, we're looking at the kind of question we'll be asking, okay, what form of authentication would the mobile app use as when users are trying to log in? Is it biometrics? Is it username and password? Is it a combination of two? Then what kind of securities are we putting in terms of at network layer?
Okay, then, so you guys are going, okay, you're going quite technical.
In terms of usability, we talked about the navigation. Is it going to be a side menu or is it going to be a top menu when user log in?
Okay.
Then we talked about what kind of okay.
Go ahead, Abdul.
Yeah. So we talked about what would the look and feel be like in terms of what aesthetics, as in I'm speaking to the branding identity this time around. What terms of color are we leveraging on the Future Bank main color or stuff like that? Then on user requirements specifically, we asked about, what are the pain points, right? What problem exactly are we trying to solve? Or what opportunity are we trying to exploit here?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. Thank you so much, Abdul. I appreciate that. And, as you were going through your questions, I just wanted to speak to one thing, right, is that in the business analysis world, right, we've got a saying, always understand the why and the what before you go to the how. So in all of these interview questions, right, let's not be focused on how the system must act and so forth. We want to understand the stakeholder requirements, which is the what, right, which is what I was going to go through once we started going with our requirements analysis and design chapter, right, which we'll probably speak to a bit later on, but I just want to take it real back. I want to take it back. Let's take it back to where we started with the knowledge areas, right? So guys, what we've done over the past, just to summarize, because I know time is not on our side, right? To summarize, we started off with what is business analysis. We saw some stats, right? We spoke about competencies, we spoke about techniques, and then we took a case study, right? And we did a deep dive. We didn't do a lot of techniques. I just want to say that, but I gave you an opportunity to apply SWOT analysis as part of strategy analysis, right? As part of planning and monitoring, you got an opportunity to do a stakeholder management plan, right? You've seen the business analysis plan. As part of elicitation and collaboration, you got an opportunity to questions, right? Requirements analysis and design definition. I was going to give you guys an opportunity to produce some requirements, very high level requirements, right? Requirements lifecycle management, we're also going to do the same, as well as solution evaluation. But the key takeaway from this session for each one of you should be, at least if you can just take away at least one thing, I will be happy, right? It will be very good for your career as well in terms of I learned X, Y, and Z. Like I said, the purpose of a masterclass is not to listen to a presenter, but actually also do and come out with at least a practical skill or at least a foundation of something that you can build. And like I said, there's so many courses out there, even free courses, YouTube, if you want, right, that you can go and build these skills, right? So I really want to, I'm just going to stop sharing. I'm going to see any questions before I hand over to our admin and before we do a vote of thanks. Any question, guys? I'm going to stop sharing. Let me know if you've got any questions, because we have come to the end of our time. I will be uploading some additional documents to those folders. You guys can revisit them if you want to finish off, right? Andrew, go ahead. I see your hand up.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Please, I just wanted to ask a question. So what's the difference between a BA and a product owner? Is there any difference, basically?
It's a good question, right? IIBA, the International Institute of Business Analysis, said about 33% of business analysts are doing product ownership roles, right? So Andrew, I've been a BA, I've been a product owner, right? So there is a difference. As a BA, I was very engaged. I was very much into the detail, which I still am. I was very much into the detail, right? As a business analyst, documenting all of these business requirements, stakeholder requirements, and so forth, right? In my product owner role, I saw a slight difference in that I was now more engaged with the senior executives, right? I was really the link between my Scrum team. We were practicing using the Scrum framework, right? So I was a link between my Scrum team as well as customers and senior executives, right? Things came to me. My role as a product owner was to maximize the value of the product, right? So I had to look at my backlog and see which of those user stories, right, are going to add the most value for my stakeholders, prioritize that and bring that into the team, right? As a BA, I didn't have that opportunity to work at that level, right? So product ownership role, you get more exposure towards the strategic side of things. I was also responsible for planning a roadmap for my product, right? Something I didn't do as a business analyst. So there is a difference, right? Hopefully that makes sense, Andrew.
Definitely. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Funmi says, are all these documents what we have in the BRD or RMP? Funmi, just elaborate more on your question, please. When you say all these documents. Funmi, okay. Elaborate on the chat. Ola, you're unmuted. Are you good? Or it's just by mistake? Okay, it's by mistake. Okay. Right, guys, if no more questions, right, I'd really want to thank Adatun. There's another question.
Just one last question before
Yes.
we go. And I
Yes,
won't
Mohammed.
take much time. I just wanted to ask you what's
Yes.
the difference between working as a BA in a waterfall setting and an agile setting. So
Oh.
just you can briefly touch upon that. That will be great. Thank you so much.
Sure, Mohammed. So within a waterfall setting, it's very different, right? All of the work that we're doing today, right, is primarily within a waterfall setting where you're doing your BA approach plan, you're listing the tasks and activities that you're going to be doing, and that's feeding into the project plan, right? The project management plan, and they kind of like tracking your work as you're going along, right? In an agile environment, very different, right? You're working first of all with user stories, right? Like I said, the product owner brings those user stories to the team. You as a BA, those user stories, the great thing as well is you're not going to be working on those user stories alone, right? You collaborate with the team. Agile is heavy on collaboration, right? Individuals and interactions. They say more about interactions rather than individuals, right? So they want to make sure that you're continuously collaborating with your team, right? So a BA in an agile environment is working with user stories. They're collaborating. Every 2 weeks, you're giving feedback to your stakeholders in the form of review. You're having your own internal retrospectives as a team to say, how well did we do? How could we improve? Right? So major differences there, right? But I always say to people, having that foundational element as a BA in waterfall is great springboard for you to practice in an agile environment, right? At a very high level, there's more, but that's just at a high level. Hopefully that answers your question, Mohammed.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right. Adetun, over to you. Thank you so much, Adetun. Thank you so much, Coach Bola. I appreciate the opportunity, but over to you.
Well, Tendai, this was an amazing, amazing session. Thank you very much for bringing your experience and speaking so passionately, and engaging the entire class on this topic today. I'm sure they feel really great about the session. Huge thank you. Can I have a whole lot of virtual applauses for Tendai?
I like that.
Thank you
for
sharing your time and your experience and your knowledge with us today.
Very welcome. Very welcome.
Before we finalize, just before we go, in the next couple of minutes, I'll just invite Coach Bola, who is the founder of 6dots.io. 6dots is the founder. They're the ones that have been powering these sessions, and they're the ones that have made it available for us for free. So I'd like for him to just give us a little overview of 6dots, and then we wrap up. Thank you again, Tendai.
Yeah, thank you. Because of time, I think I'm going to pass and just let the guys go. Hopefully we get to meet. You can connect on LinkedIn or on Instagram, 6dot.io, and then we can talk other times.
That sounds great. Thank you for that. I've also put in chat our upcoming sessions. Tomorrow we will continue with Jira. We will have a Jira session, and next week is the last weekend in this series. We would have the Project Management Masterclass on Saturday and the Power BI and reporting on Sunday. Before I wrap up, thank you so very much again to Tendai. This was amazing. Thanks for coming. And huge thanks to everyone that stayed for this session. Thanks for your engagement. And we hope to see you again tomorrow. Stay connected with us. We would put the recording up on YouTube, and you can always go by it, because I know it was a lot that was shared today. Thank you. Have a good rest of your weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tendai.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Coach. So good to see you again.